let's start up front. Ethan de Groot, Tyrell Lomax, Dane Coles all had huge impacts for a variety of reasons, and that scrum. De Groot's just a beast. He dominated his opposite, and Tyrell Lomax also some punishing tackles. That front row set a real sort of a level for the All Blacks.
Oh, 100%. I think, as an armchair critic now and watching, we've always said that's where it's got to start. But, that's definitively where it started, set the benchmark, what was expected, gave front football, and front football with speed, the Argies are still trying to get organised when, our backs were coming at them. So it's really hard to defend in that situation. Even though some of the defence was poor at different times, but when you're coming on off such great ball, it's just it's gold. It's gold.
Yeah, and that's reflected in 17 missed tackles in the opening 40 minutes by Argentina. Yeah, they were off in that aspect of the game, and defensively is where they beat the All Blacks in Christchurch last year. But you're so right that the speed of the ball and the speed of pass of Aaron Smith, his ability to just get the ball beyond the first defender seemed to help.
Yeah, look, I think, that's the reason why he's one of our greats in that position, and why he gets picked week in, week out as our starting halfback. He's just good at it. And then McKenzie's, he's been on song, obviously, with the Chiefs, and we, the All Blacks, were playing pretty similar, I reckon, pattern or mindset in terms of how we use him at first five. And maybe that's an indication of where we're going for this World Cup, or as we move into that world and we go through this, I guess, this education or discovery going into the World Cup of exactly what we are or who we are as a team and how we want to play. I think that what we've seen is maybe just this we've set the line and of maybe how we want to be as a side, in terms of how we play the game. And I think that's like last year, maybe was a question. So I'm hoping, how we've sort of started as an indication of what we're proposing to be as in terms of how we play forwards, read the backs, and our combinations and things like that. So it looked interesting. I definitely feel like we, although our midfield was sensational and, Geordie was second to none today, there was no real pressure on that combination. And
yes.
and all of our sort of, I guess, our tries that scored or the moves that we ran seemed to be from our structural set pieces and stuff. And we didn't really get phase play after phase play up the field. We either ran a couple of phases and we broke the line. So,
yes.
There's still questions there, and I'm curious to see and excited to see how that develops over the next few games. But it was a good start, and I think a lot of people in New Zealand will be pleased to see that we started so well.
They played very quick. The breakdown was very, very good. The numbers at the breakdowns, the ability to clean out the man to allow Aaron Smith to play his game. How good was his width on the pass? Every time he got the ball, he took a step. He had runners running off him into clean holes. Shannon Frizzell was immense in that performance, but it was the guys that there was a lot of debate out. D-Mac, I actually think he was class in that performance. D-Mac's control in the game, his ability to pass at the right time, to kick, and that's probably the big question there, Kempy. Look, they've kicked a lot potentially previously in previous test matches. We saw kicking in this game, particularly from the 9 area, limited. They didn't box a hell of a lot. They used the ball, they shaped the backfield, they kicked smart, they kicked to space, and they allowed them to get into the game. Argentina in that first 40 were just non-existent. They were very, very poor, but they were made to look poor from a clinical All Black side. Damien McKenzie, outstanding. Geordie Barrett, player of the match, voted by Argentinian fans. And, mate, for me, he was very direct, very strong with ball in hand. His support, his decision-making was class. And then you've got Josh Lord, hasn't played any rugby at all, and gets out there and puts in a stellar performance. There was question marks. The set piece was dominant, Kempy. The scrum was very, very strong, and made the Argentina side, which they traditionally pride themselves on, as a set piece. But Lomax and De Groot really set the platform up front. The line out was a little bit shaky at times, I must say. If there's going to be any room for improvement, it'll have to be the line out against South Africa, and we know how dominant they are. And Beauden Barrett, you know, the questions at the start of the week, Will Jordan's out. Question marks over his head. What is he going to look like in the future? Is he going to be there? Well, Beauden Barrett, I thought he put on a great performance. Great in the air, dominant with the high ball, made great decisions of where he should be. And that dual playmaker that's been spoken about very, very lot, quite a few times, I thought it was on point on the weekend. Do we get a lot of confidence out of that? First game up for Ian Foster and co? I do.
Yeah.
I definitely do. And I think Sammy Kane, how destructive was he on defence?
The interesting factor will be, what do they do with Damien McKenzie? That guy did enough for me that he needs to be in the starting 15, whether it's in the 15 jersey or whether it's the 10. I think the calmness and the control, his tactical ability, put the All Blacks in the right areas of the field, made really, really good decisions. His combination with Geordie Barrett, like, first time those two blokes have played together, but it didn't look like that. Like, it looked like that they've been playing seasons together. So, look, I was really, really happy with his performance. He needs to be in that side, but it's the conundrum of what you do with Beauden Barrett and Richie Mo'unga again. Where do those guys fit in? Does Richie Mo'unga come in at 10 and Damien go back to fullback and Beauden goes to the bench? I think that's, if I was picking that side, that's what I do. What do I think Ian Foster will do? I think he'll stick to his guns and he'll play Richie Mo'unga at 10 and Beauden Barrett at fullback. That's what my gut's saying. The only other change that I think I would make, who I was a little bit disappointed with, was Caleb Clark. Again, it just didn't feature. Didn't feature at all in that game. Didn't see him. He was like the anonymous man. Imoni Narawa made a great fist of everything. Obviously finished a beautiful try on that right edge, but he always is busy, Imoni Narawa. It's the same with Mark Talia, Lester Whanganuku. They come off their wings. They're looking for work all the time through the middle of the field. They help their tight forwards get gain line, get speed of ball. Caleb Clark just sits on the left wing and waits for opportunities, which I just want to see him do more. And I don't think he's proud himself in glory, and I think there might be a change on that left wing. If Lester Whanganuku's fit and available, I think he comes back into the side. And I don't know where Mark Talia is at in terms of his injury. So if he's fit and available, you'd imagine he'll go onto the right wing, Lester onto the left. But yeah, Imoni Narawa didn't look out of place at all, mate, in the test arena, that's for sure.
It was glaringly obvious at the start, and I mean, admittedly, it could have gone another way with the charge down. However, both McKenzie and the All Blacks bounced back from that. They were playing away from home in Mendoza. There would have been a touch of nerves. There would have been an aspect that if they got behind early, then Argentina would have grown another leg and arm. But the way they started, the accuracy of their set piece, we've talked about the group from the Texas, but the scrum and the line out functioned at a level which it wasn't just, yeah, we won our ball. The way they won their ball, they were winning ball off the back jumpers. They were winning ball from the middle of the line out. The scrum was dictating terms, getting penalties. They were able to generate such quick ruck ball. And we've talked about it before. Once you get quick ruck ball, this All Black team, and any team on that matter, is very tough to contain because the defence literally can't match it. And at times, watching that first, 20, 30 minutes, it almost felt like a training run where the opposition are just sort of playing scrag, and then you set another ruck for the sake of it, like you would have seen at the trainings you've gone to, Kirst. It was just at that sort of pace. And when you've got footballers like we have, particularly in that back division, when the ball is coming that quick, then the Argentinians just couldn't live with it. Admittedly, Argentina early in that first half and in that first 20 minutes, probably I reckon there was two glaring opportunities. Obviously the charge down, if they'd got that, great start for them. There's 7 points. And then there was that one where they had a set piece and they were rolling around the corner and they literally just had to hold on to a ball, and it would have been sort of 17-12 if things had gone their way. And maybe you're looking at a different result. But from that first half, and that's where obviously the game was well and truly put to bed, it was just the speed at which the All Blacks could attack at and what they could regenerate off that. And, I mean, for all the players who were going in there, I guess in people's eyes that there was question marks or there was World Cup spots on the line, I don't think there were many that wouldn't have sat on that plane coming home, Kirst, thinking, first tick in my box.
Is that your Picasso?
Well, I'm waiting for you now.
There wasn't much, considering there was 80 minutes of absolutely running rampant from the All Blacks. I've heard you say much more before.
Well, I was waiting for you to come in with some of your hard-hitting questions around a few of the individuals. But, of course, if you're wanting more, one of the massive question marks was around Damian McKenzie, who worked his way into the game. And the thing about him, and it doesn't matter who you are, the thing that he bounced back from a few things. Although the team was going well, he bounced back from nearly charge down. He bounced back from a couple of missed kicks at goal. But his crispness of pass, on top of the ruck speed, on top of how flat he's going, his hand speed's always been something that I know people said, he's a 15 for years. But his skill set is such that his quickness of hands from both foot to hand and hand to pass is as quick as anyone. And he can do it so square that's the gift that he's got of being able to be square and throw these quick passes and play so flat. And then obviously, of course, the blinding speed. So that was one thing that just stood out and helped that All Black attack.
So, Beav, can he do it against a team like the Box?
Well, I mean, let's
do all signs point to that? To yes?
Well,
I'm not asking if he's going to start. Can he do what he did against Argentina, against the Box, and against Ireland and these other teams?
Of course he can, as long as the platform's the same. And no first five can do that if he doesn't have the platform. The thing that is just going to naturally happen is you are playing Argentina, who weren't at their best, in a day game on a nice hard track. Saturday night at Mount Smart is going to be a bit dewy. It's going to be against the Springboks. So we're not going to get our own way at set piece all the time. We're not going to get our own way at rucks all the time, which meaning the ruck speed is not going to be the same. So he's not going to have complete front foot ball all the time. So he's going to have to probably make a few more decisions under pressure. But absolutely he can. So let's hope that, if as far as the final tick, if he can tick the Springbok game off and do exactly all the same, then he's put his best foot forward for Fozzie to say, right, I can be your World Cup 10.
Combinations was a big debating point at the start of last week, or when the team was announced, and those combinations flourished. But the combination of 12, Geordie Barrett and Rieko Ioane, outstanding. Particularly Rieko. I think his evolution, his game has come a long way, mate. What impressed you about that combination?
No, I agree. I thought they were really good. I think, the two of them, they were sort of the form players. I know it's hard from Super Rugby, they're all at different teams, but I think even from the end of last year, like that was sort of the combination that was looking the strongest. And so, I think what the coaches have decided, give them as much time as they can leading into a World Cup, so start them straight off with your preferred combination. And they just carried on. I thought they were great at the end of last year when they played together, and again in Argentina. Yeah, they were both really, really strong. They combine well because they offer a lot. Obviously, Geordie, all the assets that he brings, and Rieko the same. So the more time they can play together, they'll only get stronger. Because individually, they're great players, right? Like you can see that. Even in their super stuff, they're star performers. So the time they have together will only help them.
Last thing, Carmo, I think probably Shannon Frizzell's done enough to get the 6 jersey again. Some that were up in the air a little bit. Damian McKenzie, I thought was pretty polished apart from the first 60 seconds in his go in the 10. And I think Bodie had his best game in 15 for quite some time. Do you think those two might get those jerseys again, or will we see some changes?
I imagine you'll see some changes if that's the way Ian Foster's doing it. We've got to trust Ian Foster. I think we've got to give him a lot of credit for the way he's planning and preparing his side leading up to the World Cup.
What I do know, Steph, is there's going to be 15 All Blacks take the field on Saturday night. I don't care what names are down 1 to 15. I know it's going to be an All Black side. It's not going to be the best one that Ian Foster believes will get the job done. On Saturday, I'll be 100% behind those guys. But once more, the reason why Beauden Barrett and David McKenzie played so well in the weekend is because our forwards fronted. Our forwards are physical. Our forwards gave them a platform. And from when you have a platform, you can do what they do. So that's really going to be the huge test on Saturday night, to get that platform again against a Springbok side. I think you and I and most every New Zealander will know the tactics they're going to come and bring on Saturday. Will be pretty physical, be relentless, will be kind of those pick and drives around the rucks, which means a tight five have to stand up again so they don't suck in our loose forwards and our midfield backs. And once we start kind of sucking those people in, like happened in Victoria, create some space on the outside. So, yeah, let's get ready for a ding-dong bash fest at a new venue for the All Blacks. One maybe it doesn't hold quite so much, memories for the Springboks as well. They've never played there, I wouldn't have thought. So the Eden Park factor is not going to be on the All Blacks side, but nevertheless, it's going to be one hell of a game.
SENZ, it's Kiwi for Sport.